newsletter, the Monarda Supreme, I think.
Complex.
Yeah. Oh, Complex, sorry. And is that, and it said that it can address circulatory issues.
The combination. Yeah, the combination does, just because it's not so much the Monarda in that does that. It's the Melissa is very good for tachycardia and palpitations. And then the oregano has a little bit of an effect on circulation, and so does lemongrass. And then thyme is also a circulatory tonic. And so the other oils that were combined with that, I had been thinking about making something for a while that was something that you could take internal, although this you could also inhale, but that was really super specific for like addressing the potentials for COVID, and even the COVID like long, the long version. And there's a circulatory component. There's the thing with the Melissa is Melissa is almost as antiviral as Monarda, but because of the price, it's not always the most practical thing. And Monarda is still a bit stronger, but the combination of the two work really well. But Melissa is very good for the physical heart, for the emotional heart. It's good for like the tachycardia and palpitations. But it also, it doesn't relax the diaphragm like how hyssop and anula and sitka and myrtle, they all do it through the respiratory function. Melissa relaxes the diaphragm, but neurologically, like it calms down like the sympathetic calms down the sympathetic and strengthens the parasympathetic. And it does something a little bit different to the diaphragm, and in a way, what it does to the diaphragm actually increases or improves lymphatic function, because there's several things you can do for lymphatic function, and one of them is like breathing and things like that. And so it's tied to how loose or how relaxed the diaphragm is. And so you could almost say that you can measure lymphatic function by looking at the health rays, looking at the diaphragm, looking at the lymph nodes, looking at the brain and fuzzy or foggy thinking. You can look at several indicators and go, that's the issue. And Melissa addresses a bunch of that. And then the lemongrass, again, circulatory function, just because it has a big impact on lymphatic function, which picks up and addresses like the extra fluid and things that the circulatory function is not able to address. So it leaves it behind or kicks it off into the tissue. And so that's why it works so well for like when you're achy and stuff. And that combination is, it's not something I'd use like to treat. Like if somebody had a circulatory issue, I wouldn't go, this is the thing for you. But to treat like an immune issue, especially something that's COVID related or potential, and then the after effect of the impact on the circulatory system and the diaphragm, like I tried to make it as best I could to address all those issues. And so, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I played with it for a while. Like I didn't want to just like blend something and throw it out there. So we played with it for quite a while, and it was probably more geared towards long COVID than anything. But it's a hard one to address just because it doesn't always manifest the same in every person.
Right.
So, I looked at a bunch of different cases and I thought, okay, this is we blend this like this, I think this could actually address almost everybody that we had notes on. And so, we'll see, but
Thank you for that. Would you
yeah.
recommend that for me for maintenance? After
I
5 years?
mean, potentially. I mean, if you're starting to improve and everything, you might be okay, and you could just stick with the normal Monarda. But
Okay.
maybe when you run out of the Monarda next time, like you could jump on the complex as well.
Okay. Chris
Yeah,
just told me, hey, I'm almost out of Monarda. I said, hey, there's a new Monarda.
yeah. I mean, it's that new Monarda, that
Hint,
complex.
hint.
It's a lot of Monarda and a lot of Melissa, and then it's just enhanced with those other things. But it's still a lot of Monarda. But
Got it.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
And Greg, can you talk briefly